Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Endless Celts Podcast. I hope you're all well. Who's watching? No, we're 10 minutes late, but we had a bit of difficulties at the start. We were meant to be joined by Paul McFarlane, but unfortunately, he couldn't hear us, but we could hear him. It was a whole rigmarole, and we had to just kind of kick on without him. But he will be on at another stage once we sort out the technical difficulties. Anyone in the comments have any idea why, please let us know. That'll be great help. I'm joined today by Franny and Ross. How are you?
Aye, all right, mate. Stressful day, stressful moments before we come on there, but I feel bad for Paul because obviously he was looking forward to coming on, but I mean, the last person in the world you're going to ask to fix it is me.
How about yourself, Franny? How are you, mate?
Aye, all good, Stephen. Similar to Ross, it's a shame that Paul couldn't come on and that he seemed buzzing and stuff, but our technical knowledge went as far as Rossing up writing a bit of paper, try your volume, so the guy had no chance of us fixing it, let's be honest.
To be fair, the reason why we were 10 minutes late took Ross 10 minutes to write that down. But before we click into the double pivot itself, I do want to make everyone aware of the table so far. So then the Celts SPFL Predictor League table is as follows. McGinty's still out on top with 22, James Fallon second 21, Ross here third with 18, I'm fourth with 14. Anthony Dunn is 13th, Willie 6th, Franny 7th, Gavin is 8th, and languishing on the same points, but last is Jed, as you can see in red there. But, I mean, I do want to start. Now, I was going to do the quick fire questions, and I'm still going to do it. So it's a wee bit of fun that Gavin's introduced into the podcast and it kind of breaks it a wee bit, breaks it up a wee bit, because we'll be talking about different things tonight. And Franny, I'll do it with yourself, and in the comments as well, get involved too. You can see there's plenty of you in already. I do appreciate Dion, Paul's in already, Plums McNugget, Sam, Fran, 420. We're all in, ready to watch and ready to talk football. But before this, quick fire, Franny, you ready?
Go for it.
First, texting or talking?
There. Sorry.
I was texting or talking?
Texting. I'll text on, mate.
Favourite ever Celtic player?
Larson.
Fill in the blank. Peter Lowell is?
Bleak.
You have to say it?
I see you next Tuesday.
Right, okay. Favourite TV show?
I really didn't know, man. I don't know. 24 hours in police custody. I didn't ken. I didn't really watch TV, Stephen.
24 hours in police custody?
I didn't really watch TV, man. I didn't really watch TV.
Right. You're a Celtic cult hero.
Cult hero? I don't know.
There's Malty's favourite show. You know. We get it.
For fuck's
Oh, jeez, peeps, man. I didn't ken. Cult hero. Paul Hartley.
Paul Hartley. Interesting choice. Name one of the 7 dwarfs.
Happy.
Who's faster, a Gat or Maeda?
It's surely Maeda.
I could be a close one. A Gat was some speed. I don't like some speed.
It feels like Maeda's rapid.
Your dream car?
Quite got to be kind of boring. A Range Rover Sport, mate.
Range Rover Sport?
It's just a football hang, innit? It's a football hang.
Aye. Over here, all the wee bag dealers drive them. You can tell them a mile off.
Franny's working his way up to a Range Rover Sport.
He's
got the wee satchel there for the pub.
I've got the satchel. I'm not quite being promoted yet to a motor.
Franny the Roadman. One superpower, what would it be?
Invisibility.
Why?
To rob banks. Go with that.
Fair enough. Your favourite Celtic era?
Martin Ailes era, like early 2000s was good because it was proper competitive and stuff.
And then finally, a hero of sport outside of Celtic?
Tiger Woods.
Tiger Woods, yeah. That's a great
for
shout.
Many reasons. For many reasons.
I mean, all the controversy for him. You know what I mean? And then Dion comes in, robbing banks to get that Range Rover Sport. Like Ross said, to be fair, he's working his way up. He's got the wee satchel. He's running about in the tracksuits. He'll be there soon.
Get there.
But look,
Get there.
we'll get stuck
Rome
into it,
wasn't built
Ross.
in a day, lads. Rome wasn't built in a day.
We'll get stuck into it. Obviously, there was something that's going to start with tonight, but again, we'll put that on the back burner. Celtic have announced on their Twitter pages, social media accounts, that they're going to be starting work on the state-of-the-art training facilities at Barrowfield. I think it's meant to be completed within a year or 2 years. So we'll see how that goes. But it's a big chunk of investment by the club. And I've seen, and to be fair, I do agree with the aspect that the accounts are probably going to be quickly followed tomorrow morning with a shutdown of all social media accounts of Celtic over the weekend. Obviously, the game has to be covered but out with for that. But your initial reactions, I mean, we all talk about modern clubs and kind of improving the standards. And I welcome the training facilities being upgraded. They were talking about the youth as well, kind of the future stars of Celtic within that video that Jerry McCulloch done. Although we need the right people behind that, the right team behind that drive the youngsters of the future and the stars of Celtic in years to come. But what's your initial reaction to it? And obviously the cynical side of people thinking that it's trying to distract what's going to be record-breaking accounts in the next couple of days or so. People who are thinking tomorrow, it kind of takes away from the positive nature of that announcement.
Is that to me?
Yeah, Ross.
I mean, it's good that they're... Mark Neil's the best era. Absolutely. By the way, that would have been my answer, Stephen Hendry as well. That's mental. Listen, upgrading that area and keeping it within the club and using it how they're planning to use it is great. But, I mean, is it going to benefit us that much, really, when you think about the way, well, obviously, there's no, like, reserve league and all that. They're playing in the Lowland League. So, out with Celtic, it's still going to be the same setup. So, these young guys, albeit they're going to come through a really good academy, if you like, and have really good facilities, at the finish up, when they get to about 16, 17, if they're showing promise, they're still going to move on if they get a decent enough offer, because the setup out with Celtic, what they'd be playing in against hatchet men and stuff like that, when they can go away and play in better reserve leagues or whatever. So again, as good as it is, the setup overall in the country has to be better for the youth, for us to probably reap the benefits more of doing what they're going to do to Barrowfield.
I think as well, like, there must be something in the works that's going to change if they're going to make. I think it was said it was like £20 million, Ross, an investment into that kind of facility. Like you said, that the youth football is stagnant at the minute. Lowland League players would get bored of it. Obviously, they're playing against, as you said, hatchet men and part-time footballers. It is good to learn your trade in some aspects of it, but the reserve league, in my opinion, was much better because you can mix the experienced professional with the youngster coming through. You can't. There's not really any of that flexibility no more to do that, Franny. I think Sam Fran comes in. There's money to be made. The women's game now and in the future, hence the investment, all boils down to money. It could be a number of things, and that's obviously a main issue. I think one of the focus points was the women's football team is going to play out of that facility. They're going to train there. They're going to do their gym and all that kind of thing, which is good to kind of keep it in one area with the youth academy. But like what Ross said, it could be 20 million through down the drain if we don't improve the youth setup and also the setup we have within to produce these top class youngsters.
It could very well be money down the drain, and it's clearly an investment that you're not going to see short-term returns on at the end of the day. This is a long-term investment, which probably should have been getting done ages ago. Because Barrowfield's it's an embarrassment. I mean, it's fairly recently that the actual first team was training there when you think about it. It's not too long ago they actually done that. But I agree with what Anthony's saying as well. We do need to upgrade Lennoxtown, but I think Barrowfield, for me, is more a priority. Just to, as we are struggling to keep some youth players. A lot of that, there's mitigated factors, not just into the training field and things like that. But if they've got better sort of training facilities, better like a match day experience, if you like, with it being a wee sort of a mini stadium and it all being there, that might help them integrate them better, keep them there. But a lot of it will come down to the league they're playing in. If they're still playing the Lowland League, then players are still got to go. There's the class isn't there. To play against, there doesn't seem to be. It's the Lowland League, whilst it's competitive football, and I've said before I was all for it because it was competitive football. But then when they started putting sort of terms and conditions how you can only play 5 games in the first team players can't pick up some fitness in it, it's not really what it's cracked up to be. I think we really need to look at getting the reserve league back and just trying to get better competitive football and a wee bit of accountability, because I said it when we spoke about it recently as well, Stephen. Dan Naday and Stephen McManus got a team in the Lowland League language about mid-table, maybe slightly below mid-table. I know they're probably told to play a certain way, but they've got to be able to be doing better than that. Surely there has to be accountability for Celtic reserves essentially being that push in that league.
That's why I've always thought it'd be better to get an outside coach in. Like someone, I know that Darren O'Dea and McManus is good, they know Celtic, they know the city, all them cliche statements, but if you're looking to develop youngsters, Ross, and look, I'm not pissing on their coaching credentials. They obviously have some coaching grades and they wouldn't be in that position otherwise, but you look at it, and like Franny said, with the funds that we have at our disposal, which we'll come on to again, it's always a topic we'll have to talk about, and then the youngsters we should be producing, to be mid-table in the Lowland League isn't good enough. And then on the other hand, we're saying we should be doing a better standard to bring back the reserve league or that type of thing. So it kind of goes hand in hand. We're not proving, the youngsters aren't proving themselves at this level. Then what makes you think they can make it at the next level, so to speak, up the leagues through the Scottish pyramid system? Because at the end of the day, Rocco Vada, like you, Ross, you even got annoyed at that whole saga in January. I think we all did at one point. It was like, will he go? Will he stay? And this guy hasn't even been an impact on the first team. He's just living off his dad's name at the minute. We don't know the actual potential he has. It's a strange situation. I don't know what you think about the coaching side of things, but I think it's a good point that Franny did bring in, because it's great to have these guys who've been around a club, the experience, but you need that top quality coach to develop them, like a Brendan Rodgers does, or used to do, so to speak, with first team players. You bring them on to a new level. You need that with the youngsters as well.
Aye, but I mean, I'm not going to sit here and slag their credentials because I don't really know nothing about their credentials as coaches. But I mean, for me, I don't think it's a massive shame on young laddies essentially who are playing against big, strong men who are going to be physical. I don't think. Listen, you expect them to be technically better, but I think that's very difficult for the young guys to come up against these probably, well, guys that are fully developed. Ross, you're in a plush jail cell in H block. This is a wee spare room. I don't think it's that bad to be mid-table in that, because it's not easy. These are young boys, as I say, coming up against fully grown men, probably getting out muscled and stuff like that. As I said, that you'd expect Celtic to be technically more gifted, but I'm not going to say. I actually didn't know until you said there and now that they were mid-table. That's how much attention I actually pay to the youth setup. But aye, listen. I don't think it's a big deal that they're mid-table in that. If they were mid-table playing against all young guys, either their same age group and at the same sort of development as a human being, then I would be more worried. But coming up against fully grown men doesn't bother me too much.
Yeah, and Paul McFarlane, I think Stephen's shouted tonight having me on live. I will be back. You will be back, buddy. Again, we do apologise. We couldn't work it out. You know yourself, we tried like 10 times and it just didn't work for whatever reason. Then them technical gremlins were in stopping it. But look, we'll get to the bottom of it, get you on shortly again. But in regards to the youth, look, I think it's, for me anyway, I like looking at training facilities, Lennoxtown. I love all the wee videos that they show you behind the scenes, and I'm a wee bit of a nerd about that, to be fair, but I do get it. The investment can be made in the wrong place, and it can be, as Monty said, it's a deflection from what the reality is. We're sitting in millions in the bank, and it's a kind of a nice wee segue, Franny, to Peter Lawwell himself.
Go ahead, sorry, Stephen. See, just to obviously not come back on that as such, but see, I've obviously seen some of the comments coming up. And it looks like the general consensus is that nobody is really into this redevelopment of Barrowfield. But we knew about this months ago, and to me, if we were out, if the first team was out in the pitch winning games of football and we were flying high at the top of the league like we were last season, I think everybody would be on board with this. But because of the way the first team is, it changes the narrative completely and everybody starts comparing it. And listen, I understand that they haven't spent the money that people expected and wanted to, and I totally take that on board, but I just think that the narrative on that whole Barrowfield thing completely changes if the first team is flying high at the top of the league.
Sam, but that again, of the doctor as well, because we're sitting talking about how there's no much youth coming through. This is a step to try and do that. I appreciate it's not going to happen next year, 2 years down the line. It's got to be a wee while down the line to see if this is working. But it's, on one hand, we're asking to get more youth to come through, but we're not wanting to put the investment in for the youth. And
investment's good.
I think Ross is kind of bang on. It's just if everything was fine on the park, nobody would care about this. Is it a deflection tactic for the finances? Probably no, but it's going to look like it.
Aye.
At the end of the day.
I mean,
that's cynics will take it as that.
That's not believe.
It's not believing in it, but going by what you're saying, you've got or sounding like you think they've released this to try and deflect away from going to announce record. Well, it's led to believe is record numbers in the bank. How do you know that's the truth? You can't just say that as fact. Then what I've said is no fact.
I'm not saying it's not fact, but evidence. Celtic released their interim results the last 5 years around about the start of February. We're now in the middle of February. They've held on. Look, I'm not saying it is the main reason why they're doing it, and I want to reiterate, I support the upgrading of training facilities. I'm not saying I don't. I love all that stuff. But I'm looking at it from the other point, and Ross, you said it as well. If the team were winning, the narrative could change, but the fact is we're not. We can't look and say if buts and maybes. That the fact is we're in the situation we are now.
I'm not arguing against that. I'm just highlighting that would be the case for me.
Yeah, and I think the Bhoys bus comes in here. Team would be flying high at the top of the league. Has there been more investment in the first team? So yeah, when it ties in with that new training is also part of our investment. Defo be seen in a different light, and people have different opinions. I just think
I'm not disputing that. I'm not for 1 second disputing it. I'm just highlighting that would be the case.
Yeah, to be fair, I tend to agree with you on that one. But I think that the deflection side of things is, Franny, like you come back to me there and said, I'm trying to dismiss in terms of saying it's not fact what you're saying. I'm not. I'm just saying Celtic have released their interim results really early in February before. They've held off, and it looks like the work's begun in this development. And they've sent McCulloch up there, and there's like, do a video, talk to the women's coach, and say what we're going to get. It's going to cost 20 million quid. And what I found amazing about it, like there was no need for this question. He said it to the women's coach, and it was like, "Well, let's bring us up to date with the facilities down in Lingna for the women's and all." And she's like, "Of course." Like, what was it? You don't need to put them wee snippets in. That's why I'm thinking maybe it is a deflection tactic. But I do agree. If we look back and Celtic were flying, we're 10 points clear, we'd be all whoa. Everyone would be on board with it. Be like, this is a good investment. But we'll go on to the other stuff, Franny, and I think it was the Herald, one of their articles. To be fair, I've seen it through other Celtic websites and stuff like that. I thought it'd be good to talk about. Said the kind of paraphrasing that Celtic in the top end, like the boardroom and owner level, are bemused at the abuse that Peter Lawwell's receiving because they're really hard in the face saying he has no input in signings or the day-to-day running of the club. For me, I don't look again. I don't necessarily believe that. I think a man of his stature come back into a position of strength and in terms of chairman, he's going to have an input somewhere. And he's not just sitting in the corner taking notes and taking time in meetings. He has an input somewhere, whether it's recruitment, whether it's the day-to-day running or the structure within the football department itself. He has a voice. And I just think it's a bit mad, and it shows me that the Celtic board aren't really taking the fans' concerns seriously if they're saying things like bemused or we don't understand where this is coming from, because you can see it on the pitch, you can see it within the divide and the support, and for me it's loud and clear that there's an issue at the top level somewhere.
I think, obviously I've not seen the article, but kind of what you've been saying there, Stephen, I couldn't say yes or no that he's involved in transfers. but it's certainly going by the body evidence that you have prior. It looks like he has some form of influence. And has that to do with his laddie as well? Just kind of, is it more the influences through Mark Lowell? We know he kind of works some. Well, I'm saying no. He maybe works some like his dad, or he's taking advice from his dad and things like that. You just don't know. It's just again, I'm sitting saying on one hand, folk are maybe looking at the whole redevelopment. Probably get used to it somehow. I'm sitting saying folk will be cynical and saying Celtic are releasing this Barrafield training ground to deflect away for that. But then I've totally lost my train of thought there. But then I'm like the cynic in me saying, well, look at what happened when Lowell was there the first time with dilly-dallied with transfers. Ange came in and Lowell wasn't there and Mark Lowell wasn't there. And we seemed to get transfers out of the line pretty quick. Yes, there was a bit of desperation in there. Needed them. It was Celtic were in a different sort of place. But then ever since he came back, Ange's last two windows weren't exactly brilliant. Then obviously it looks like you're pushing on for a position of strength when you hire Brendan Rodgers in the summer. But then you seem to, and then you bring in 9 signings, which seems madness when you think about it. When it's off the back of,
I think it's 11 now, isn't it? With Kuhn and
I think it's 11 now. But obviously in the summer you're sitting going, team doesn't really need 9 players. Probably doesn't need them, and you're thinking you've got to get proper investment, but it just doesn't feel like. I mean, we're obviously speaking the benefit of hindsight. I was summer not really writing players off, just coming in the door and things like that. But you get 6, 7, 8 months out of these guys, then obviously you've got the 2 new guys that just came in the winter window. Kuhn, I don't know what to write a guy off, but Jesus, that's. I don't know. I think that could be 3 million spunked up there. I think that could be 3 million just spunked away like that. Just, I don't know about the guy. Does not look like he's got to cut it. Ida, I think, could be a good outlet, but again, I don't know. Is Lowell involved in transfers? I really don't ken, but it's hard to argue against folk if they do believe it.
And it's hard to argue against it as well. Do you mean people are believing it for valid reasons? Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. It's hard to argue against it.
And then Ross, the Boise bus comes in again. Is it Russell, by the way? If it is Russell, hello to anyone else, hello as well. But yeah, the cross handshake Brendan does is with Nicholson and Peter. He was there front and centre. Stephen John, just be kind of honest with the fans if possible, and if not, why not? Strange of the doctor. The fact is, we're on the dark when it comes to the inner operation of the boardroom, not to mention how the transfer operation works, or in fact, the first team is trying to play, system and all that type of stuff, which we'll come on to. Obviously, me and you worked on Monday after the game and that, and the reaction and the fallout. But like, how are you feeling at the minute? And I mean, the sack the board chance, we're back again. And I think there was a video circulating of someone giving Mark Lowell stick, apparently, in the crowd. I don't know what actually happened, but it looked like a wee altercation happened in the main stand. It is getting intense, I think. I think any more drop points is going to get even more worse than it already is. And I don't think Celtic are in a position or have any leeway to drop any more points. But just overall, how you feeling towards this situation? And then the Peter Lowell thing in and around that, do you think it's getting blown up because we're not doing what we should be doing in the league, taking care of business? If we win a few games, does it disappear? Or is it one of these things now where it's going to stay front and centre until this is all sorted out and we get transparency to what's going on?
Well, for a long time now, I've
about 5 questions I asked you there, but you know,
again, for a long time now, I've tried to err on the side of positivity of, like, in the summer I didn't want to write transfers. The players that came in, in that window, I didn't want to write them off straight away. And then it was like you were starting to like struggle. You could see the players weren't doing the business, and then it was like, right, we'll maybe get some more in January, but it won't be as much as what some people think. And then obviously I was saying that January, and I still stand by that January is a difficult window to get players in. It's a renowned fact throughout world football. But I mean, the downturn in results since we came back for the winter break it's almost as it isn't obviously quite COVID season levels, but it's the performances are no far off that. They're no losing games left, right, and centre like they were in that season, but it's becoming more and more difficult to defend the situation. In fact, I'm actually at the stage where I'm not even willing to defend the situation anymore, and that's strong for me. I said off the back of the Kilmarnock game on Saturday, in haste, it has to be said that I said that unless something changes immediately in the next game and we start picking up results, which is an obvious thing to say, we will not win this league. I've calmed down a wee bit, but what we are turning out is not good enough, not even close to good enough. And to go to your question on Peter Law, I'm similar to Franny. When he came back, I was one of the ones that were saying, well, we don't know what capacity he's going to be in and all the rest of it, and it was non-executive. And listen, I wasn't saying people were wrong, but I was holding on to the fact that he wouldn't have as much an input as what he did previously. But like the team on the pitch now, it's so difficult to argue against that right now, to the point where I actually believe that he actually has got, or he's, he actually has got that similar influence that he had before. I think Franny highlighted it and said that when Peter Law wasn't there, Ange Postecoglou came in and got signings in the door and stuff was getting done quick, and Michael Nicholson was getting high praise and all the rest of it, and it was working well. Then Peter Law comes back into the fold, and for all the world, certainly the last two windows and the signings that we've brought in, they've got Peter Law written all over them, and it's I can't sit here now and argue against that. I try my best to be positive about Celtic, and I still am holding on to the fact that we can beat Rangers in the two games, because I think I've said it before that we play better. I think it's been proven throughout the season in the Champions League and against the two games against Rangers that we play better against teams who come out. I think when teams sit back, that's when we really struggle. And that is all I'm holding on to, is the fact that we can beat Rangers in the two games. But then you've still got to win the other games. I fully agree that if we drop any more points between now and the 6th of April, it's gone for me. I said on Saturday it's gone. I've calmed down a wee bit, and I'm, again, like I said, I'm holding on to the two games against Rangers. But if we drop any more points between now and then, I don't see any way we win this league, because I really think the confidence, it's such a low ebb right now. It's just be so difficult to pick themselves back up for that. And Rangers, albeit they're not playing absolutely fantastic football, they've built up a head of steam, and they're getting over the line, and they're showing league winning form right now, as much as it pains me to say it.
Yeah, I think that the impact, look, again, it's not the same type of football, but Clementine has come in and had that bit of momentum. And it's like when we took the lead, Franny, remember in Postecoglou's first season, I think it was the February game, we went top of the league after beating them at Parkhead the night time derby, the Glasgow derby at night time. It was a February time, wasn't
it? 2nd of February.
Aye, and we went top of the league then and never looked back. And for me, I kind of get them vibes from this season. And Jed comes in here, the ever-flowing positive man. In my opinion, it's worse than the COVID season, as we know we have the money to move to the next level. The board have other ideas. And the Boise boss came in again and said that it's ridiculous to think that Peter Law will never have an influence. And it's one of them ones that, and Ross, it is, to be fair, I'll give it to you. You've always tried to come from a different angle, but you've kind of let go of that because you can see what's happening. And look, that's not to say anything you said was wrong. Again, it was bang on at the time in terms of giving signings time and the chance to bet in, and the same as Randy Window. I just look at this run of results, and it feels like we've went from a treble winning squad to basically crap. Do you know what I mean? And Sounds like there's something under your desk having a good time, Franny. Bzz, every 2 seconds. But I think, like, for me, it's been the strangest season since the COVID season. In terms of feelings that I've had, I've been up and I've been down. I've been frustrated, I've been angry, been disappointed. And after the weekend's performance, and Ross, you actually said about defending against teams with a low block. Kilmarnock actually pressed us quite high up the pitch, and we lost the ball numerous times to their press. We could not get out of it. We could not pass our way out of it.
Sorry, I was just going to say that's because the defenders that we have, their distribution is fucking diabolical. I've never seen two guys like Stephen Welsh and Scale. It's actually a talent how well they pass themselves into a cul-de-sac. It is fucking hard to watch, man.
It is mad. I'm going to come on to Liam Scales shortly. I do have a couple of things I want to share about him. But Franny, are you off the same thinking as Ross? If we drop any more points, it's gone. If we go to 5 points, for me, I'll be honest, I think that's a sackable event. I think that comes down to Rodgers. I think that comes down to, and obviously there's only so much he can control in the pitch, but he's implementing the system. He's training these players week on week. And if we're not improving, then there's something drastically wrong in the coaching team as well, regarding the other factors in the boardroom. But I think if we drop any more points, I'm thinking like Ross, it's done. If it goes to 5, I think it'll be a tough ask. It would be a tough ask.
It would be a tough ask if it goes to like 5, because you would then have to look at winning every game, providing you lost. You go to 5 pretty soon. By the way, Dion, didn't do that because there's no point. Yeah, if your electricity will trip off first, so at the end of the day, you'll just be in a bath with a toaster. It wouldn't tell you, to be honest.
I didn't notice that, but it does now, aye.
Aye, your electrics have got a lot safer these days. That's what your RCD's there for, son.
There you
just
go.
trip before it actually gives you an electric shock. So
I can just like stand and like fire a knife into the toaster and hold it, and it'll be sound.
It should be. I mean, you'll give yourself a wee sair one, but you.
Let's not say that. For fuck's sake.
What was it you asked me again, Stephen? Oh, but Roger.
If we drop any more points,
if we drop any more points, if we dropped more points leading up to the game at Ibrox, it would depend on how many points. If we're still sort of within our own hands, if we won all our games, we would win the league that way. I wouldn't. That wee bit of hoping you would still sort of no bother. Come round the night.
James just wants to see you with nothing on, get into a bar.
I suppose a wee bit of hope would have it in you going, well, we just need to go on a run. We know what we need to do. We need to win every game. But then you'd obviously be looking at the form going, well, what kind of gives you the sort of confidence that we're going to do that? I think if we get where we need Rangers to technically drop points in 2 games, it does start getting difficult. Would I sack Rodgers if it gets to like 5, 6, 7 points? Probably, because I don't think he's got to win the league, and I don't see any way that Rodgers stays if we don't win this league. I think
that will be mental. I think that would be mental torture for him as well. The abuse, I think, would be through the roof.
I honestly don't see a world where he stays, but equally, if he doesn't win this league, I think a wee bit of his reputation is shattered. I think he's obviously got aspirations to still go back into a top job in the EPL, and I don't think he gets one of them off the back end, no one in the league at Celtic. So you never know, he might hang about for another season. But personally, I would, if it gets to 5, 6, 7 points, I would consider maybe getting rid of him. Only because I would technically be conceding the league, and I would be looking at trying to get the new guy in as quick as you can, and just so he can assess the squad, see who's got to be there for next season. But I'm not obviously writing this season off. Right now I'm obviously nowhere close to sacking Rodgers at this stage. I didn't see the point when the league is still very much there up for grabs. I get our form is fucking horrendous now, and it's hard to put a case forward for us going on a good run of games. But whilst it's only like 2 points, I didn't see the point of sacking Rodgers. As I say, if it gets to silly points, then I would maybe do it just and try and get who you see has got to bring this team forward.
Yeah, and again, it's not just being negative. I think we're just being real. To be fair, tonight, on this Wednesday night. Do you know what I mean? It's Ross. I think it's crazy that we've went from Rodgers coming back. It's all great to potentially talk about sacking him or letting him go if it gets to 5. And Monty is, to be fair, trying to be a bit positive here. Hearts throw out the Bigot Dome and Celtic win at Fir Park, all square, game on. And look, that's what we all hope. But coming from you, do you still have faith in Rodgers that he can turn this around? And I look at him. We spoke about, I think it was a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, about him having that fire, the buzz again back, and then it's all witty, it's Rodgers, and it changes again the next week, and it's so in between. You don't know what you're going to get after every press conference or post match. His words change, his meanings change. Is he sending subliminal messages to the board, to the fans about certain issues? I just don't understand it, and that's why it's been a strange season for me. And the feeling that I got under Postecoglou in terms of excitement and loving watching this team play has totally been gone, in my opinion. From my point of view, it's just a strange feeling. But do you still have faith that Rodgers can do
it? Well, I think that this has the Rodgers we're seeing now is shades of the Rodgers sort of the last season, or coming towards the end of his last tenure. I think he's come in here. He's seen the sort of how the recruitment was going under Ange for the outside, and he thought this has improved. But I think he's been sold a lie, essentially, and he's really, I think he's downhearted, but he's not one to out his bosses, if you like, but he's also want to try and keep the fans on side. And I think the difference is this time that he can't walk away from it, because of the way he came in, told us that he would be here for X amount of years. They had a 3-year contract, I think it was. He said he would be there for the duration of that. And it's too early in his second tenure as well for him to walk away. But for me, I don't know. I've still got faith in Rodgers. I think he's a great coach. I just think that he's working just now miffed. I think there's probably, I'm only surmising, but I find it very difficult now to believe that the rift between him and Peter Law has been repaired at any point because of the way, because of what he's been given in the last 2 windows to work with. Now, listen, Rodgers has to still be getting a better tune out of this team than what he currently is. But I think for me, Rodgers is wanting to play. It's a different style for Ange's. It's not as fast paced and all the rest of it. But I don't think the players he's got at his disposal are able to play the way he wants to. If he was going to be backed to how we would want him to be backed, and how he would maybe be expected to be backed within reason, then I would have faith in Rodgers. But my issue still is, if Mark Law is bringing these signing targets to Rodgers, and then he's picking for that pool and saying, right, okay, these guys, we'll go for these guys. I don't have faith in that. I think that needs to change. But Rodgers as a coach, if he's working and everything behind the scenes is in harmony, and everybody's sort of thoughts are running parallel, then I think Rodgers can do the job here again at Celtic. But I think he's got a really, really tough task to try and change the confidence and the fortunes of these players. And it doesn't, listen, Rodgers is at fault as well, because he's sent out all these mixed messages all season. And there's guys, I said it months and months back, that you can't be coming out and saying we need quality and this team, this squad lacks quality. And then you've got guys in the dressing room questioning whether he thinks they're quality or no. Obviously, guys like Callum McGregor and that, they don't need to question that, but they've been there for long enough, and they know what they've brought to this club. But there's a lot of new guys who've come in, and I just don't know if they're. I don't think he's lost the dressing room, but I don't know if they're playing with uncertainty, thinking, does he want me here? Did he want me in the first place? Loads of questions, and there needs to be a bit more continuity coming out for Rodgers but he also needs to, for me, be backed better. And I'll be honest with you, as long as Peter Law is still there, Mark Law is still there, I find it difficult to believe that he will be backed. I find it difficult to believe that fucking any manager will be back to the way they should, as long as they're here. And that's hard for me to say, because it, in a sense, is admitting that I was wrong, as much as I was trying to be a bit more level-headed, and I wasn't saying that people who were going off and won were wrong at the time, but it's difficult for me to sit here and be fully positive as I have been. But I still believe, as I've said, that we can beat Rangers in the 2 games, but we really, really have to find some sort of system or something that's going to work. And the fact that we're sitting in February scraping around for different systems, that gives the COVID feel to me, because I remember thinking Turnbull and Sorrow, etc., were brilliant players in that COVID season when they came into the team.
The sparks.
And
the sparks.
It's actually, it pains me to talk like this. It really does. In fact,
I've said
enough. I've said enough.
Turned the winds against me.
Actually, I can feel the bile, the spew building up. Talking like this, it's just not me. But it's tough to really argue against any what people have been saying for months that I, as again, haven't disagreed with, but tried to be a bit more level-headed. But it's smacking me in the face now.
Yeah, I think as well, it's the more hardened fan like yourself, Ross. I said hard in a bad way, but the positive one who wanted to back him and see where it went, and this is starting to come round to the feeling that maybe this isn't quite good enough. I know for me personally, I was very early on saying this, and look, again, it's no one's right or wrong. No one can see. I don't know what the fuck happened there. No one could see what was coming in terms of this downturn in form and the results, and it's a game of opinions. That's all it is. Everyone has one. Do you know what I mean? It's that's fair enough. And Paul McFarlane comes in, well said, Ross, and Boise Bus said it as well. Stephen Ray comes in. Remember, I called you Ray. That was embarrassing. Win or lose this league, I can't see Roger staying at Celtic next season. He doesn't have a trusted system with 11 players he rates to play in it. Celtic are on a trend, and that trend is second place. And what is Ross on? He can't be serious. I
didn't even know I was coming on to say this tonight, by the way. It's just all spelt out.
Jed comes in, Ross, all we want is to be positive, but it's very difficult at present. Do you know what I mean? That's how it is at the moment. It's how we're all feeling, and it's just the realization that things aren't going how we wanted them to go. And I think for me, I think it was Big Dom that said that he's just disappointed and angry at how this season's turned out and how far we kind of came. I think it's what been a 10-point swing, 8-point swing in the league since
technically 10.
Technically 10. Technically 10, which isn't good enough. That is, if we're honest, sackable. Do you know what I mean? It is sackable. And the Boise Bus comes in. Despite being honest, Lowell was always going to be involved since I knew he was appointed. No one either could predict the serious shambles under Brendan Rodgers. Under Brendan, likewise, yeah, 100%. Sam Fran, I don't know if you've heard about this. Ross getting slapped in the face like a night in the Devonish.
Wow. No? Aye.
Have you heard about this?
Yes.
Yeah. It's incredible. Have you heard about this? Oh my God, right. So just a side thing. I don't know what it was, right? So there was an act called the Pleasure Boys, right? I think they're
so you need to know, Ross. You just take
it's the double pivot. We can approach any subject with confidence and security. That will be fine.
Get it?
Right. So
we're jumping
there's a bar over
bars with toasters and everything, man.
There's a bar over in West Belfast called the Devonish, right? And they hired this act called, what was it called? The Pleasure Boys, right? So they're a male stripping act, and they go full nudity, right?
Uh-huh.
So cut to, there obviously women bought tickets for the show. Dion's come in, said she's raging she wasn't there. I'm sure they're going to come back, Dion. Just hold your breath for tickets. They're in demand. But so there was videos leaked of this thing, right? Basically on the stage there was women, let's just say, in positions that they shouldn't be in. There was women who were due to be married with flappy things in their face and the rest of it. And then there was a video going around of what they call body lotion in someone's hair, but it wasn't. But we can cut through the code. We know it wasn't body lotion. So since that, there's been a lot of fallout. A lot of women have left West Belfast under the threat never come back. So that's what happened. So that's for that whole you've been slapped in the face like you happened to Devonish.
I take it that was circling on Twitter.
Yeah.
Yes, circling it was circling quite literally, but you know,
helicopter. Helicopter Sunday, right enough.
We've halfly done. We talk about male strippers here. Fuck me, pass the toaster. Stephen Ray comes in. Dermot wants a big name in charge of the team, but the way Celtic are run with the three family dynasties doesn't suit it. A trophy manager wants big players on big wages. Stephen has. Yes, I do have the videos, and I'll pass them. Actually, I'll upload them to StreamYard and we'll watch them together. What we'll do it? But Boise bus helicopter. But yeah, that was where I came from. But we'll kind of park that and we'll move on to everyone's favorite subject, and that's ex-players getting involved in the current situations. And look, it's a legend, Ross, John Hartson, Big Bad John, the Welsh Dragon. There's another pun, hey? The Welsh Dragon. But he's come out and he's called Burnaby a disgrace. Obviously, the clips are going around of the goal that we could see that he was kind of suspect, to say the least. He tried to get a foul. Definitely wasn't a foul. And kind of made it look like a fool. I think, in my opinion, he's been used as a scapegoat. He was only on, 20 minutes of the game because Greg Taylor couldn't make through the full game. At the end of the day, there was a team full of 11 players from the start right to the end. Yes, a couple of subs were in between. They still did make a difference. And it feels like to me sometimes players like Burnaby or even James Forrest, for that matter, can be pointed out and scapegoated and be, this is the reason why we drop points. I mean, if you look at the sequence of that goal that we conceded, it could have been stopped further up the pitch. Anthony Ralston stood off the man when he crossed it. Stephen Welsh missed the header when he should have had it. And then their fella comes into the back post and scores. And who's to say that wouldn't happen when Greg Taylor was there as well? You just don't know. But do you think some players can be unfairly singled out? Or do you think Burnaby is a disgrace and should have been in a Celtic shirt again?
Do I think... Was it? Who was it, Dave? Me or Frank?
Ross.
I thought it was me. Do I think some players are unfairly singled out? You asking me that? Greg Taylor?
Yeah.
No, listen. I don't think Burnaby's unfairly singled out. I think for the most part in a Celtic jersey, he's shown that he's not good enough. And listen, you can... I never seen the game on Saturday. Only seen the highlights. But
lucky you.
Aye, but you can make the case. I'm not going to argue against that. What you've said, obviously, things could have been stopped beforehand. You could say that with most goals. But for me, Burnaby comes on. He can't defend. We're 1-0 up. For all the world, if he goes and does his job and defends that rather than tries to buy a free kick, then we win the game 1-0 probably. So for me, it is his fault that we've dropped points because he doesn't do his job at the back post, albeit there maybe is guys that maybe didn't quite do their job, but that was the glaring mistake. That was the glaring one for me that caused the goal. Now, I don't think people are saying, singling out a player and all that. I don't think he's singling out Burnaby as such. He's just singling out that incident as to why we lost the game, and it just so happens that Burnaby was the one that was defending in that moment. Had it been Greg Taylor, I think he would have probably, I don't know, he maybe wouldn't have used as strong a word as a disgrace, had it been Greg Taylor or whoever else, but I would have, for me, listen, I didn't watch the game, so I can't say for sure, but if you're trying to see that game out, even if you've told Greg Taylor you're coming off in whatever amount of minutes it was that he came off, I think you're trying to see a game out 1-0. You don't bring Burnaby on for Greg Taylor, even if Greg Taylor is sort of flailing a wee bit. I don't know. Can you confirm if he was flailing or if he was?
I don't think he was. He looked all right. It was more probably the injury. Yeah.
To me,
It's 60 minutes.
Rodgers has done that a few times this season. He done it with Carter Vickers as well. Listen, I know you don't want to rush guys back too quick, but if they're fit enough to they should. Well, if you're starting them, they should. Don't give them 60 minutes. Just don't play them. I think if you're starting the game and the game's tight, just keep him on because he's playing for a reason. Because you're maybe you don't trust the guy who's going to come on from at 60 minutes or 70 minutes as much as you trust him. And if the game's tight, you just stick with the guy that you trust more. And for me, that was a mistake for Rodgers on Saturday to do that. And as I say, he's done it a couple of times this season. But Rodgers also can't foresee the fact that Bernabei is going to be so lightweight and just not do his job. He has to just go and win the header. He's in front of the Kilmarnock player as well. So just deal with it. It's like if your keeper gives you a shout and you're not sure who's behind you, you just deal with it. Even if it is going to go into the keeper's hands, and then the keeper will go, listen, I totally get why you've done that kind of thing. You've done your primary job. You've dealt with it, because there's no point in letting the ball go over your head if you're not quite sure who's round about you. Bernabei has to go and deal with that. End off.
Yeah, and look, again, I do agree, but I think we can look at that, like you said, Ross. There's different aspects of that build-up play that could have been stopped. I mean, as I said, the Ralston issue where he could have closed him down before he got the cross in. Welsh missed a fucking free header to clear it, and then it's landed back with Bernabei, who, to be fair, he should have had it, and he shouldn't have played for the free kick. But I think for me anyway, Franny, and again, I'll probably come in for a bit of heat here, and I don't really mind it, but for me, the last couple of games where Greg Taylor's been out, Bernabei showed a lot of heart, a lot of enthusiasm. I think there was a stat going around that he had the most duels won, but then duels lost. Crazy type of stats for a player, but he tries to take the man on. He tries to get to the byline. Yes, we know his defensive frailties, but I don't think you question his attitude and question him trying. I don't think that's up for debate, to be fair. And I think this is a good one to come off what Ross said as well. Why are we trying to see these games 1-0 out against Kilmarnock at home? We should never be in that position. We should never be trying to see a game out against Kilmarnock. They've had 3 games now, one loss against them, 2 draws. Derek McInnes has had her number, and I think Bernabei's just fallen to the wayside here. And I mean, the disgrace that he was called, I think, is harsh. He hasn't been great in terms of defensive qualities, but attacking wise, I think he's been one of our best in the last couple of games.
A disgrace is probably a bit harsh. I will agree with you that he has showed a lot of heart, a lot of effort. You can't discredit him for that. He's taken a lot of abuse. Guys like myself, I feel very justified in the abuse towards the guy. I think he's a fucking terrible football player. I just don't think he's class. But he has showed a lot of heart and stuff. I don't think he's a great option going forwards. Even you just see he loses the ball too many times, but he does put a lot of effort in. I do agree, there was a lot of mistakes in that goal. A lot, like Kuhn and even Yang didn't press the ball high up the park when after Yang lost it. I don't think there was enough heart for the forward players to try and close it down and win the ball back. They kind of invited that diagonal ball in that Stephen Welsh, I mean, certainly me and Ross anyway, and even James, we've all said we like Stephen Welsh. I didn't think he's really done much wrong, but I think it's fair to say, what we've probably all said in the past, he loses too many aerial duels, I think, for a centre half.
Yeah.
And again, he lost one at the weekend. The boy flicks it on. Anthony Ralston, he probably should close him down, but I don't know if he's maybe just got stuck. I think he's came in to try and cover in case Stephen Welsh misses the header, and obviously the boy gets a flick on, and Ralston's then kind of out of position. I think he rushes out but doesn't properly engage him. I don't know if he's maybe just no went in case the boy does him and he gives away a penalty. He's just try to stand him up, but it just doesn't get close enough. And boy digs at a great cross. It's a good header, but Bernabei really needs to be stronger at the back post. He's obviously felt a touch on his back and tried to win by a foul. He probably doesn't even need to win the header, Bernabei, to stop the goal.
Just put him off.
Put a challenge up with the boy, jump with the boy, and you might just put him off. The boy might think he's not got to get the header. So I was too many errors in that goal and stuff. And Bernabei for me is, I said it earlier on the season when folk were asking to put Scales at left back. I was one for saying no, just get a left back at left back. Didn't put anybody like Scales has been brilliant at left back in defence. Didn't take him at the position where he's excelling, where he doesn't he prefers playing. But if it keeps bearing about the team, I would play Scales at left back when Taylor's not available. Like I would probably actually go to Free at the back, if in all honesty.
There's a lot of call for that. There's a lot of call for Free at the back at the minute.
Because Taylor, I'm as I've said in the past, I'm not a massive fan, but I think Saturday showed a lot of folk up. Bernabeu was an absolute shambles when he came on. Let's be honest, the minute he came on, we were an absolute shambles at the back when he came on. Taylor is actually a really good football player on the ball, and he might benefit his playing. He's maybe not. He's probably got the energy to play left wing back, but like as a wing back typing. But when we're attacking, Taylor on the ball is pretty confident, gets his selling good positions and picks good passes. So it could work in that team as a sort of if you're maybe try to play that a wee bit more defensive as a 3-5-2 in certain games. But kind of going back to your point about seeing games out, I think that's just the nature of where we are form-wise, and now we're trying to see games out. But the substitutions didn't suggest we're trying to see a game out. Bernardo coming on, bring a Watt on.
That baffled me. That baffled me on that.
Seeing at the game. Ida, I don't know why you're taking him off. He can get you up the park. He can hold the ball up and stuff. Oh, I've tried to stick up for the guy, but it's getting harder and harder. It's a year in and he still just seems very, very raw. I just don't think he holds up the ball enough. This seeing out games, I don't know if we are trying to see out games because we're not really making substitutions that would suggest we're trying to see out games. I just think there's a nervousness throughout the team now and things like that when it gets. They can obviously feel the anxiety in the stands. They're probably feeling a wee bit anxious because they'll ken they're not playing well and ken that one chance could absolutely kill it for them and stuff. And like I think we've all credited Scales, rightly so. Ralston does it, but when you looked at that back four, what finished the game like Ralston, Bernabeu, Scales, and Welsh, that is not a back four we should be finishing a game with. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I think this is true as well. We've discussed downgrades after downgrades in the first team, and look, the recruitment conversation is something we can have over and over again. Like most of us do at the minute, it's the hot topic. And just quickly, Ross, I know you had an opinion on it, but I only caught it a wee bit of it. Didn't watch it all. The Lewis Palma clip that someone shared on Twitter and was shared in our group chat, and you were kind of saying it along the lines of who took their time to make that and share that among people. Do you think them types of things aren't fair? We're talking about single out players, and Palma hasn't been great, but I think I don't know, he just frustrates me. I've said it since the start. I really have. But do you think them types of videos, them clips that just showing his worst bits is just on call for at this moment in time?
Aye, it's absolute shite batter. For one of your own, the Celtic team. Listen, I'm not saying Palmer's going to see that, but there's a good chance he might. For one of your own, one of your own, who he's playing with low confidence now, as all of the team is. The team right now needs the fans more than ever. We don't need somebody like putting that in the public domain. It's like the YouTube reels. You can make somebody look really good. We could probably take a few. Could probably take a few things that Palmer's done and make it into a wee reel and over the last few games and make him look like a brilliant player. I'm sure Wally said that in the chat, but for me, it's totally counterproductive. We don't need a video like that put out into the public domain to know that Celtic aren't functioning really well now. I just think it was a pointless video and total shite patter.
Yeah, and just finishing on the Scales thing. Again, a lot of stats here, a lot of things can be fluffed up, but if just thought this was interesting, I've seen it earlier today on Twitter. So if we look at Liam Scales, he has the highest carry progress in the top 10 leagues. He's 6,861, which is decent. That's bringing the ball out from the back. Ruben Diaz is on that list. Pau Torres of Aston Villa, and a couple of players I haven't quite heard of. If we look at duels as well, most duels won top 10 leagues. Liam Scales at 209. Moreno of Real Sociedad, Ramos, in there as well, some good pedigree and passes. But I think this is more down to system. Most successful passes, 2,204. Shaq is in there. He's a midfield player.
Many of
Rodri's a
them are
midfield player.
forward.
Aye, that's true. Lewis Dunk of Brighton. Do you know what I mean? So, and Hanko of Feyenoord. Do you think as well, Franny? Look, them stats look great, but like what Ross said, I think a lot of them are padded up by the fact that it's safe play most of the time. And again, the standard of the league, you kind of bring the ball out from the back, not expecting too much of a challenge. So, just a quick one: is the Liam Scales experiment over?
So yes and no. Like, I'm not advocating to get Scales out of the team, but Scales for me, I think we've seen enough of him this season to suggest Scales will do a job for us, but he can't be the answer going forward, because that coming out for the back, he gets so far up the park and then stops, and doesn't it? It's almost like his body doesn't can't. He's like gets a nosebleed and can't go any further, and just stops. He isn't great at passing it out for the back, whereas I think the Rothke is good at passing out for the back. So it's I'm kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place in the sense that in an ideal world to get CCB and the Rothke in there, because I think that's ideally what Brendan Rodgers maybe had in his mind as his defensive partnership, and I think the two of them are good at bringing it out for the back and playing out for the back. But Scales is taking his chance, and we're at a stage where we're talking about we can't drop points, and can we really be gambling on a partnership that we didn't really ken if it's going to work? But I appreciate that was a long way to answer your question, Stephen, but I would keep Scales in the team, but I think for me, moving forward into next season, I don't think Scales is the answer.
Yeah. And what about yourself, Ross? I think I claimed for Narowski to get over Scales before, and it didn't quite work out that way, and Scales went on to keep continuing. Brilliant. But I've seen a lot of mistakes in this game recently. The passes that you alluded to, I mean, they're going backwards, or they're missing the actual central defender, which is Welsh in this case against Kilmarnock. Does 5-yard simple things, and I don't know if it's a confidence issue with him. I just think when he gets time, he's taking 5 to 6, 7 touches on the ball. It's not quick enough to move the ball at the pitch. That's the other team get back into their shape, and overall play for us, it doesn't look good enough. But Liam Scales, in your opinion, would you keep him in the lineup? Just keep going with the status quo, or would you take a gamble and throw Narowski in?
Well, see, when Scales first came into the team, I was saying that I was really impressed with the way he passed the ball out, because he was naturally left-footed, unlike Starfelt, and he was playing the more difficult pass sometimes and bypassing that sort of left back and playing it into the winger, and it was taking out like part of the press for whoever we were playing against, and it was working really well. But I think, like most of the team now, off the back of the winter break, I think that he's playing with really low confidence, and it is now showing on the pitch glaringly for me. He's not the only one, but he's passing out for the back it hasn't been good enough in the last number of weeks. He's been giving it away. He's not been playing that pass that I've just spoke about. He's been playing the safe ball into whoever his partner is in defence, or playing it out to the fullback, and it's just not the same Liam Scales that we seen when he first came into the team. For me, if we were going into next season and Liam Scales was still the first choice, then I think I wouldn't be happy with that. But to answer your question, would I take him out the team right now? I made the case for so long last season that you don't split up a successful partnership. When we were talking about, or maybe it wasn't last season, I can't remember what players it was we were talking about, but I made the case that you don't split up a successful partnership. I think it was maybe, but I don't know who it would have been. We would have been arguing for to come in and place Starfelt. I feel like it was maybe
Maurice Jens.
Maybe it was. I can't remember exactly, but I did make that case, and I still probably think, just because for continuity, that Scales should remain, and I think you'll see a bit of an upturn in his performances if and when he gets Carter Vickers alongside him, because he's a more calming influence, it's as if Liam Scales right now is the senior player, and that is an indictment of where we are in terms of injury wise in that area of the pitch. It's a sad indictment, but it's where we are. So I would be inclined to just stick with him just for continuity more than the fact that I think he's better than Navrocki, because I think that's debatable. For me, I don't know if anybody agrees with this or if it's people think it's stupid, but I've been very impressed by Lagerbielke every time he's been in the team.
Lagerbielke. I like him. Yeah.
Listen, I don't know. I can't say he's not the fastest, because anytime I've seen him, I don't think he's had to do that sort of chasing back, because it's been domestically. I was away on holiday when we played away in Feyenoord, so I never really seen how well he done in that game. But anytime he's been in the team, I've been impressed by him. I think he brings the ball out quite well and his passing's decent. I don't know why he isn't getting a shout. I really don't. Rodgers clearly doesn't fancy him. I do. I think he's decent. But again, like Franny, it's a long-winded way to answer your question, but it's a difficult question to answer because there's so many variables as to why he should or shouldn't be in the team, and well, what we've alluded to. But for me, to answer it simply, I would probably keep him in the team just for continuity more than anything else.
See, just kind of like about, like, for me, I would go CCV and Narovka. I think what I've seen in Narovka, I do like what I've seen, but like, if you look at the Lagerbielke one, it's no, I mean, it's not going to happen because it's clear Rodgers just doesn't like him or doesn't rate him, but he's no conceded a goal domestically. Now, I appreciate it's only 5 or 6 games, but it's better to give the guy a wee bit of confidence when he goes out in the park. So that's maybe a fair argument for him to come in and be playing, going well. Like,
is that Navrocki? Sorry.
No, Lagerbielke. I don't think any game he's played domestically. I think it's only 5 or 6 in fairness, but I don't think we've conceded a goal domestically when he's played. So surely that's got to give. And one of the games was at Ibrox. I mean, he'd done everything to try and concede a goal that game. I felt the most uncomfortable player ever in the world, but he got through it.
Right.
And he scored in the Champions League. Do you know what I mean? So,
and then I don't think he's been seen since.
No, and it's weird. He got the Defender of the Year in Sweden, and he scored his first national team goal and on. It looked on the up for him, but we just don't know the case of it. And I think, like yourself, Ross, and like you, Franny, he's looked all right. I don't see why people are writing him off. And it's a Rodgers thing, obviously. And it's like, give him a chance. What could be the worst that could happen? Fuck me. We need anything right now for a bit of physicality at the back, someone to win ahead or someone to take charge. And as you said, Ross, Scales is the leader in that defence, and it's baffling how that's happened.
I know, and by the way, Rodgers has got form on this with defenders, because he obviously, I don't know what no, but he got rid of. Is it Eric Sviatchenko? I thought he was a great defender, and he got rid of him just out of the blue. I think he had a bad performance or a bad half maybe against Rangers, and he was just never seen again. And for me, his primary job, he was a really good defender. Maybe didn't have the greatest of pace. Similar to Lagerbielke, it's arguable he's not got the greatest of pace. Rodgers clearly likes his defenders to be fast but shite. I don't know how you get picking Boyata the last time, because I
liked him. Boyata was a good player.
I liked him.
No, he was a good player. No, I'm not having that. Not a chance I'm having it. Here, would you rather have him or Scales?
On the form that Scales has shown this season?
No, just overall, him or Scales?
Scales.
Oh, not a hope, Ross. Come on.
Oh, listen, see when Boyata was in the team week in, week out, it came up in my memories not long ago. I actually, on Facebook, before one of the games, I'd put on Facebook, my post was, for fuck's sake, Boyata, that is absolutely shocking. Just getting this out the road before the game starts.
Who was his defensive partner under Rodgers? Who was it? Was it Ayer?
Was it not Simonovic?
Semenovic, yeah, he played a lot as well.
Hingme played as well for a wee bit. Is it Benkovic?
Bankovic, yeah.
He came in on
I mean,
loan.
obviously, latterly, I don't think I was
Ayer,
was he?
Was he? Can't remember.
Last season,
It would have been
Rogers
because he
last
was part of
season.
the treble team in that.
Yeah,
Aye.
I think it's just baffling that you'd have skills over Biala. Biala played in the World Cup now for Belgium. Like he's decent. Like, do you know what I mean? He's a good player. But
There's
strange
a lot
enough,
of
the
shite
doctor.
played at World Cups as well.
I know, but Belgium's a good pedigree of a national team.
Aye, mate, didn't he?
Stephen.
Wasn't he a first pick?
He was.
He started the first 2 or 3 World Cup games because Vertonghen was injured. So again, like, it's still decent. Do you know what I mean?
He wouldn't be playing for Tonga, wasn't he injured?
all right, okay. You just don't like Biala. That's fine. Strange of the doctor, Stephen, come on. Nah, it's Brendan we're all talking about. 100%. But look, we'll kind of mix up a bit here. I'm conscious that we've talked about a lot of negative stuff. We've got a lot of stuff off our chest. And look, this bit might be negative or whatever, but in the viewers as well, people who are watching and commenting, anything you want to talk about, fire it in and we'll have a chat about it. We were talking about male strippers, so if you want to talk about anything else, just get into the chat, we'll have a bit of crack. But Pep Guardiola, Franny, came out, and actually it's funny, look, go ahead. Calvin Phillips, I think he's on loan to, is it Crystal Palace at the minute? I've seen West Ham, sorry. I've seen one of their fans doing an interview, and they were like, people describe Calvin Phillips as the Yorkshire Pirlo, and he turned around and goes, no, he's the Yorkshire Putin. And I thought that was quite funny. But then it transpired at the start of the season, Pep Guardiola called him overweight when he came back from the summer break and into pre-season. So basically, on that aspect of things, are players too soft now in this day and age? Can they not handle that type of criticism, that type of heat from the manager? And look, yeah, it's weight, it's personal, but maybe Pep was looking at that as in, like, give him a wee bit of a jolt, give him a push to be better and do better, and obviously he didn't take that advice. I think he made 6 appearances for City, and most of them were off the bench. But do you think these kind of world-class players, these Instagram people like Jesse Lingard, Marcus Rashford, who spent the night in Belfast, apparently on the sick from United, but was ending up in a nightclub, basically doing what they did to Devonish. But do you think that modern day players just can't take the heat no more in terms of criticism?
I would say a big percentage of them can't, Stephen. It's the way the world. Let's be honest. It's that snowflake culture where you just. I don't know if Calvin Phillips even got offended by that comment. It's probably more folk getting offended.
He did. He said it affected him.
Right, well, I mean, if it affected him, it affected him. I don't want to talk about the guy's mental state in case that was an issue, but could he be using that as an excuse for why he wasn't in the team? Now, this guy is paid really handsomely just to be fit. That'll be one of the stipulations within your contract. Be fit and be ready to play. He clearly wasn't. So that's on Calvin Phillips at the end of the day. Yes, there could be mitigating factors why wasn't he? He was fit, unfit and overweight. But for me, players, if a manager kind of has a wee joke in that about somebody's weight, then as long as it's justified in the sense that clearly they've got folk that sort of they'll be told to come back after. It's not like back in the day where you had 6 weeks off of football, free reign, just do what you want. It's you go away with training regimes and stuff. That there's too much money involved in football for players to really dick about now, if you like. But so for me, I have absolutely no issue with Pep Guardiola's comment, and Calvin Phillips, if he got offended by it, then without sounding like an arsehole, then so what, mate? You're paid about $200,000 a week to stay fit. Do your job at the end of the day. Be fit and be ready to play football. It's on you. Yeah. Guys at Man City will hit all the best chefs, best training facilities, everything there to stay in peak condition to be ready. Obviously, injuries and stuff will play a factor. You can't do it, but everything for him to be in peak physical condition will be provided by Man City. So it's on him if he's overweight at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, I get that. It's the broad landscape of things. And Ross, you look at it, I think Franny makes a great point. You're getting paid upwards of $100,000 a week at these top clubs. with the top facilities, which, by the way, Barrowfield is meant to be modelled on. You know what I mean? Top class English facilities and all that. We'll see if it happens. But you look at these things, even you look at Rashford, you look at Calvin Phillips, and I mean, Rashford's had an indifferent season, and Phillips only made 6 appearances for City. And before he came on there, I was saying to Franny that one of the West Ham supporters who's the team he's on loan to described him as a Yorkshire pudding. So, and you hear all these stories as well, like previous manager interviews, that all these dressing rooms used to be heated, grabbing people by the scruff of the neck, telling them what to be doing, telling them what to be at. And I think all the social media aspect of things has kind of cut that out now. Young players make it before they even step onto the pitch. Carmelo Dembele is a prime example. He had like 900,000 followers before he kicked the ball for Celtic. And I think sometimes in a player's mind, especially a young individual, they think they've made it already. They're getting pictures, they're getting selfies without even doing anything at the club they're representing. Do you think modern day football could learn from the old-fashioned style, or do you think it's just completely gone now and it's a new way of being, all that type of thing, politics and football?
I think modern day society, not just football, modern day society in general could learn from it. Right for schools, Waynes are fucking mollycoddled to fuck now.
Yep.
I might just be sounding like an old grumpy guy, but they are.
I'm liking this tonight. I'm loving this tonight.
But it's like things at school that like you don't lose and things like that. You need to learn adversity, and it stems from there. It starts from there, and you can't shout at people. You can't. It's just society as a whole for me now is a complete and utter shambles. I could go further into it, but I won't, because it could be a bit of a touchy subject. But modern day, it has totally changed. Like the hairdryer treatment, what was wrong with that? Like Ferguson done that. Players, like, if you do that now, players will turn on you and you have to put an arm around them. Listen, there was players back in the day that needed an arm around them too, but that is how most players have to be treated now. Listen, in terms of Pep Guardiola saying that about Calvin Phillips, it's probably a wee bit bad form for Pep Guardiola, but he's not saying it for no reason. He's not just saying it for the sake of saying it. He knows what he wants his players to be at. But I think that Calvin Phillips was actually away on international duty, and he'd came back for that overweight. I think he'd said something about he'd had 3 meals on the plane back from New York or something. Listen, we've all done that, you know what I mean? But I think he was
for yourself. I had 3 meals on the boat back from Scotland.
I was going to say, you've never even been in a plane.
Well, I've been on a plane. I've been on a plane, but if I can get to it by boat, we're on a boat. That's it.
Aye. Stephen Bergkamp. But hey,
that'll wax a flyer his head.
No pun intended.
Aye.
But see how I laughed and went along with it. See how I laughed and made it keep going. Oh yeah, go ahead, Ross.
I think Calvin Phillips, I think he was maybe like £3 overweight. I've heard Franny saying he's an elite athlete. He's getting well paid now. I can't disagree with that. But I mean, he got £3 off no bother. He probably didn't. As much as he's no saying it for no reason, he probably didn't need to out it in the public domain. But he did. He chose to do that. Maybe he wouldn't now. He's decided to apologise for that. So that tells me he possibly wouldn't now. But I don't know. I think Calvin Phillips is a decent player. He hasn't been able to show that for a long time because of Man City. Obviously, not been able to make the grade at Man City, but a lot of players have done that. Look at Scott Sinclair. He couldn't make the grade at Man City. He went to Celtic and he done tremendously well for us. It hasn't started well for Calvin Phillips. But then you could also make the case, some people, I think it was actually in Talk Sport the other day, Graham Souness was making the case. Is he a Premier League player? He had a great season for Leeds and then he got into the England squad. But he's only really had 1 season in the Premier League.
Yeah.
So I can see that argument as well. But when he played for England, a very good England team, he wasn't out his depth or anything like that. But he done a certain type of job and he done it well, but he doesn't use class. He just does his job well. But he needs to get more games of football again to be able to get to that level again. Because right now he's a wee bit off of that. But aye, that's it.
I think that what you said at the start, modern day society is fucked, isn't it? I mean, everything's so accessible. I mean, TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, it's mad. And I think kids, like you said, at a young age now, are taught that, well, basically, yeah, mollycoddled. I do agree with that. They're not taught adversity. They're not taught in defeats. It's always taking part and you're a winner, even if you come 20th place and all that type of stuff. Do you know what I mean? The sentiments of
all
it.
This
and even
need a voice and all that.
Yeah,
No,
and even
need a voice.
even if you put that into academy football as well, I think they play like 8-a-side, and there's some matches where they don't keep score, and I've heard Kevin Kyle talking about that on Open Goal, where he manages a team, but they don't keep score of the match because it would affect the players and their confidence. It's just taking part, which I get to an extent, but again, if you're building them for the reality of football, you kind of need to install early on the winning mentality, if you understand what I mean, that succeed at clubs like Celtic. And I think it is missing the trick. I mean, going off on a tangent, you spoke about kids there. And like, for example, like I said, Jason, myself, like my oldest, she went on TikTok, right? And within the first, I would say, day, she was in tears, being exposed to these different things and all that type of stuff. And they had to take it off her. She hadn't been on it since. But it's these type of things, like, what's the right way to guide? I mean, guide them into this right mentality and just guide kids from a young age to succeed without sounding like a complete idiot. And society, like you said, has changed. That I think social media is a big, massive, fundamental issue if you look at it, and that comes from footballers too. Every single fucking thing that they do is paid for, marketed. From when they're 16 in a Chelsea academy up until they're 21, playing for Crewe Alexander because they didn't make it, but they're still walking around with 1 million followers making money off that. It doesn't make sense to me. I know that's a tangent, but do you get what I'm saying?
Oh, no, 100%. I think a lot of folk live a lifestyle on social media that's how they think they need to live life. Just TikTok to their eyeballs.
It's craziness, and I think that does stem to the modern day society in terms of football and actually sport and success. What?
What's that?
So I didn't sell my gear on Tick. I'll get that
right. But I don't know. You mentioned, Franny, there that he's paid loads of money to be fit. And I'm going to sound a bit of a dick here, but I think it's a good time to throw it in. Could we not say the same about Leo Abada? Is he not paid loads of money to be fit and available and to play for his club?
I think that's totally different for Calvin Phillips being overweight.
No, not on that issue itself, but the money issue and that type of thing. He's being paid handsomely. Again, should he not be?
Again, I totally understand that argument, and I've got to totally contradict it because I actually had an argument, funny enough, on social media with a guy about it. A guy actually made tons of great points about Leo Abada, about how Celtic, we need to, it is also a sensitive topic round about him and stuff, but then finished it by saying, this is a guy we're paying thousands of pounds for. He should be playing football. For me, in this situation, I do kind of understand it, but for me, in this situation, the money is totally secondary for that. This is a guy that, for me, I mean, I think we would all like a Leo Abada firing right now. I mean, we need something. At the end of the day, we need something. So the more players that we can have available that are firing, the better. But if he mentally is not ready to play, then he may day, can he chuck him in and just put him out there in the sort of a goldfish bowl, if you like, at the stadium. Ball's just bouncing off him. He's just, nothing's coming off him. Fans and that'll just be on his back and things like that. So it's not going to help him out at all. And then obviously you had the issue with Lee Griffiths with his mental health. Nobody really, he got plenty of support when he had his mental health issues. So I think for me, Abada, we need to be, it's an absolute unique situation that is nobody's fault. It's no Celtic's fault. It's no Abada's fault. I've seen folk complaining about how he just seems to go straight up the tunnel after wins and no celebrating with the fans. I think that's probably at the end of the day because there is still plenty of Palestinian flags at home and away games getting flung, getting waved, sorry. So he's celebrating in front of the fans. that picture gets back across and there's a Palestinian flag in the background. No idea how that's got to get reported to the. No idea what impact that can have on his family that he's maybe got over there. So I think him, when he was playing, going up the tunnel straight after games, was the best for everybody involved. And I mean his family and stuff as well. Leila, and you never know, like, we didn't know where Abada stands on this. He could be, I know he's an Israeli nationalist, but he could be totally away the side of Palestine. He's a young lad, he'll be on social media, he'll maybe see certain things that and be exposed to, like, have a broader sort of outlook in what he sees, but he can't actually speak up about it. Equally, he's a young lad, what is he, 21, 22? So all his life, all he's known is that conflict over there. So he maybe just thinks what Israel is doing is right at the end of the day. It's, for me, I think, I said it the last time I was on, Stephen, I think for everybody involved, it's best for Abada to leave Celtic permanently. It's not going to change for him anytime soon. That whole conflict's not been happening since the 7th of October. It's been happening since I know it, for as much as I remember. So it's been happening Abada's whole life.
Years,
he's kind of been brought up. That's all probably he knows. Celtic's fan base, the majority, are not going to change their outlook for one player at the end of the day. I just think for everybody involved, it's best for Abada to leaves, and he'll leave with my best wishes. And it's a unique situation for him, and it's just unfortunate. It's nobody's doing it within the club, and Abada's, it's just one of them.
Yeah, no, I get that 100%, and I do agree with the aspect of things as well. Like with Abada, the best solution is, Ross, that he probably does need to leave. I have seen a different trend in terms of the views of I'm not speaking on the behalf of Celtic Sport, obviously not, but in the comments, people are saying he should go. He should, if there's no, if he's not available, no wages. Simple as that. Sam Fran was saying, and I mean, again, it kind of dovetailed off the Calvin Phillips thing and him earning lots of money to perform at an elite club and be in terms of weight and be at physical peak. For all we know, Abada is a physical peak, but he's not mentally ready to play. And I know his agent's over trying to get a move to the MLS, and Paul McFarland come in, he's saying he's trying to get a move to America, so he mustn't be that ill. But do you think that's a case of him trying to just get out of the club, go anywhere he can to get away from the situation that he sees? We don't, I know as a majority of fans, we don't see that situation in terms of the stadiums and the support, but maybe he doesn't feel comfortable, or could it be something else that he just wants to get away as quick as he can, just away from Celtic, so to speak?
I really don't know. Listen, people say he's not mentally ready. I think that's evident on these performances that he's shown. But that's not to say that Abada's came out and said to Rodgers, I'm not mentally ready to play. The fact that he played tells me that he's made himself available to play. But Rodgers, off the back of his performances, has, I don't know, not surmised, but come to the conclusion, if you like, that he isn't mentally ready, or he isn't mentally in the proper condition to play at the top level and play at his optimal levels for Celtic, and likely Griffiths, for different reasons as to why the mental health isn't quite there. He has to be taken out of the team for the benefit of him and for the benefit of the team, because what he was doing on the pitch doesn't benefit the team. But if, in terms of if Abada needs to leave, I don't know, because I don't know when this will be resolved or anything like that. It's a difficult one. People, I don't know who it was that made the point in the comment that, I think it might have been Paul McFarland, saying that it doesn't matter where you go, there's support all over the world for Palestine. And I get that. But there's certainly a huge number of Celtic supporters very vocal about it, and Celtic are a more prominent club than maybe a team in the USA that probably won't be as prominent as what a lot of Celtic fans who sort of feel like the plight in Palestine is synonymous with what some of them went through, or their relatives went through as well, and it's more synonymous with them. But listen, I don't know. time will tell on Abada if he needs to leave Celtic or not. Right now, he needs time to get to the place where he can perform at his optimal levels for us. And like Lee Griffiths, if that time comes that Celtic decide as a club, because I can't make an informed decision because I don't know the full ins and outs, but Celtic will be keeping a close eye on it, day in, day out. And if they come to the decision in the end that, listen, it's better that we move you on, or Abada, it's a sort of mutual agreement, then that's fine. I'm fine with that. But if he's given time and he can come back and he can be the Leo Abada that he was for Celtic previously, and he wants to stay and play for the jersey, I said it on Friday, I'm totally cool with that as well. Whatever is best for all parties, and they parties who are more privy with the whole ins and outs, they parties will make that decision, and whatever that may be, I'll accept it.
Yeah, no, I'm in that thinking as well. I think we all agree what Franny said as well. We would like Abada back in the pitch, but if he's not ready, and Rodgers thinks the call is to take him out, then that's fair enough. That Dion comes in. If he wants to leave, then he must go. We can't stay silent on the murder of innocent people. Look, I don't think we are, but it's a podcast. We can't really go into that side of things. It's football, and we know the political aspect of it. And again, it gets Ross rightly alluded to the fact that people in the Celtic sport might find it synonymous with things that happened in Ireland during the conflict for 30 odd years as well. So there is that aspect of things. But again, we can't go into the ins and outs of that for obvious reasons. But I would like Leo Abada back on the Celtic pitch. I would like him back fit and firing, but if the time comes and he needs to move on, like a great point with Lee Griffiths says, mental health wasn't up to it at points, and sometimes the doors open and you have to leave the club for the best of your health and your own benefit too. And look, Leo Abada looks to be on the off, but again, we'll just watch it closely. But we'll do a wee bit of on this day. In 1931, Chicago White Sox and the New York Giants played the first exhibition game at night. I'm guessing that must be baseball because I can only guess that off films. It must be. And in 1948, NASCAR is incorporated. That's the one where they drive around for like 24 hours, isn't it? I think so. And it does bang into each other and that. Crazy. But there you go. A wee bit on this day to take us off that topic there as well. But, I mean, another quick one, Ross. Jim Ratcliffe completed his 27% stake in Manchester United. This guy's a multi-billionaire. And at the AGM, Ross Desmond said that Dermot and him will never sell up while they're still alive, and it will remain in the family. Look, I think we're all kind of with the idea that Celtic won't be sold. I think Dermot Desmond's the majority shareholder, just over 30%. But do you think we could attract investment? I mean, if you look at Hibs, they've got it off Bill Foley. You look at Aberdeen, Dave Cormack come in, has invested millions of pounds. St Johnstone are in takeover talks with someone in America. Hearts have money behind them as well. There's investment in these clubs. And I think within the models of European football, and the SFA have actually accepted now dual ownership and parties interested where finance could be introduced. Do you think Celtic could benefit of someone coming in and Radcliffe, obviously not him, but another billionaire coming in, taking the reins, pumping in money into the club? Because at the end of the day, like you said earlier on, you don't trust this board to back anybody. But surely there's a solution in terms of can we attract outside investment to help the club push forward?
I mean, Celtic as a whole, as a club, as a brand, could absolutely attract that. Whether this board allow that to happen or want it to happen is a whole other question. For me, we've got a majority shareholder in Dermot Desmond, who is a billionaire. So, like, he could invest in the club. He is a ready-made guy of the type you're talking about that could invest their own money into the club. He doesn't do it to the level that you would maybe hope and expect. But I actually don't really know what the fuck Dermot Desmond does apart from sometimes stamp his feet and get the manager that he wants, because other than that, I don't see big investment. But then at the same time, you look at it and go, well, it's not like we're playing the English Premier League where you can put a big investment in and then we can win that league, progress in Europe and stuff like that, and like try and win the Champions League, and you get big money off of that. But you don't expect him to put the level of money in that you would put in to the club in the Premier League. I expect him to put more in than what he's putting in. But the simple answer is we already have that guy in the building, but he just isn't willing to put the investment in that we would hope.
Paul McFarlane, Stephen needs to invest in a new sound system. Look, we can all hear each other. I'm not pointing fingers, but maybe, just maybe a loose wire, Paul, in there somewhere in your equipment. But, we'll get there. We'll get you on. But finally, I mean, just in regards to what Ross was saying, Dermot Desmond is a billionaire, but I don't think he's invested his own money since 2005. Yes, he stamps his feet and got Rodgers in, but he's kind of left him in the dirt. During the January transfer window, he's playing golf with Rory McIlroy. He was pictured with DJ Khaled as well, which was the most random thing I've ever seen in my life. I would welcome outside investment. Anything to help Celtic push forward is a good thing in my eyes.
Oh, totally. I mean, I would welcome outside investment because obviously people would be coming in with their own agendas, I feel like, and stuff. So they'd be wanting to show the fans that they want to take the club in a certain direction. Obviously, you would need to buy. You'd need to pump probably a lot of money in it to have that kind of influence on the club and stuff. I mean, we even had Don Mackay a couple of seasons ago that, I mean, still no idea why this guy left. That we all got told it was family reasons, but suddenly he was in a job back at Scottish Rugby about 4 weeks after it. So was it really family reasons they left Celtic, or was it seemed to be gone a total different direction how our board have went for many years? Was he maybe just bringing them too many changes that they just didn't want to really do, I feel like, and so I would welcome investment, but I think it was Martin that said in the comments Celtic didn't need investment, and we've got, well, as we speak, we've got £72 million in the bank. I think if the rumours are true, we could be close to touching £90 million in the bank, maybe 100. So didn't really
get the fences up. Get the fences up. They're coming.
When you look at the books, Celtic didn't need investment, so they've got the money there. And I know me and you, Stephen, are ones for saying Celtic go and spend, but I think we're all realistic and saying we're not asking you to spend the 72 million. But have a good wee go at it. Like maybe spend didn't go and spend 20 million on 11, 12 players. Go and spend 20 million on 3 or 4 players. I appreciate it's a wee bit harder because it's Celtic maybe are a wee bit reluctant to go and spend 6, 7, 8 million pound on one player without the sort of try before you buy method that's worked in the past. But I just
fucking scout them right then, eh?
Aye, well that's it. Go back to get this pay top dollar for
I felt like you were saying that to him, like he was a scout.
Get a proper scouting system in, not the guy that essentially handed the paper over to filed the paper away at the end of the day. And Mark Law will just get a guy that kens what he's doing in the job, and then it's maybe less and less a gamble. I know there will be players that you will get like your £2-3 billion players that will come off. Your Hatatis of the world will come off, but there's a reason players cost more now. There's a reason guys that cost £6, £7, £8 million tend to be decent players. It's just Celtic didn't need. I would welcome investment, but Celtic didn't need that. Just spend a wee bit of money, and we'll not be fucking holding and McGlone about where Celtic are. We'd probably be a lot comfier in this league if we actually invested a wee bit of cash.
Yeah, I think they need to throw away that filing cabinet they have in the scouting department.
See, the mad thing is, we'll probably actually, say we Delos the league this season, Celtic will probably end up going spending £50-40 million.
I know.
And then it's oh well, look, with the investing, it's I fucking on the
back. But that's reactionary. It's reactionary, not proactive. But look, we'll finish up here on the score predictions for this week's game. First up, we've got Ross. He's come in with Kilmarnock 2, Aberdeen 1, St Mirren 2, St Johnstone 0, Hibs 1, Dundee 1, Rangers 2, Hearts 1, Ross County 1, Livingston 1, Motherwell 0, Celtic 2. Franny has come in with Hibs 2, Dundee 0, Killy 1, Aberdeen 1, Rangers 2, Hearts 2. Very optimistic. Ross County
aye.
0,
Wishful
Livingston
thinking.
0, St Mirren 2, St Johnstone 1, Motherwell 1, Celtic 3. Willie comes in with Hearts 2, Dundee 2, Kilmarnock 2, Aberdeen 1, Rangers 1, Hearts 1, Ross County 0, Livingston 1, St Mirren 1, St Johnstone 0, Motherwell 1, Celtic 3. They must pay that guy a fortune in final score to do that fitted printer, honestly. James has come in, Hibs 1, Dundee 1, Kilmarnock 2, Aberdeen 1, Rangers 2, Hearts 1, Ross County 1, Livingston 0, St Mirren 2, St Johnstone 1, Motherwell 0, Celtic 1. Anthony McGinty has come in with Hibs 1, Dundee 2, Kilmarnock 2, Aberdeen 3, Rangers 3, Rangers 3, Hearts 1, Ross County 0, Livingston 0, St Mirren 2, St Johnstone 0, Motherwell 0, Celtic 4. Just bear with me, I'll get Gavin's up. Gavin has come in with Hibs 2, Dundee 0, Kilmarnock 2, Aberdeen 0, Rangers 3, Hearts 0, Ross County 1, Livingston 2, St Mirren 2, St Johnstone 1, Motherwell 1, Celtic 2. And then we'll get Jed's up. Finally, I have Jed's this week. Is Kilmarnock 2, Aberdeen 0, St Mirren 2, St Johnstone 1, Hibs 2, Dundee 2, Rangers 2, Hearts 2, Ross County 1, Livingston 1, Motherwell 1, Motherwell 1, Celtic 2. Motherwell, that confused me. He broke Motherwell twice. Anthony Dunn's come in. Kilmarnock 1, Aberdeen 2, St Mirren 1, St Johnstone 0, Hibs 2, Dundee 0, Rangers 2, Hearts 2, Ross County 0, Livingston 1, Motherwell 0, Celtic 2, I believe that is. The bottom that's blocking it off. And finally, myself is Kilmarnock 1, Aberdeen 1, St Johnstone 2, St Mirren 2, St Johnstone 0, Hibs 2, Dundee 1, Rangers 4, Hearts 1, Ross County 1, Livingston 1, Motherwell 1, Celtic 3. And just a reminder of the table. Out on top is McGinty with 22, James 2nd, Ross 3rd, myself 4th, Anthony Dunn 5th, Willie 6th, Franny 7th, Gavin 8th, and last is Jed, unfortunately. But lads, my mouth is so dry right now, reading all that out. There's 27 comments that I've totally missed. I do apologise about that. But I wanted to go on to the quiz for a bit of crack between you two before we... You taking off the comments?
Aye.
Taking off the comments. And the comments get involved. This is just a general football knowledge quiz, as always. It's nothing to do really with Celtic related here. Just a bit of fun to end the podcast with. Right, so question 1. Obviously, you know the rules. Up to 5. Whoever gets the most wins. Question 1. Who was the first on-cap player sold for over £1 million in the UK?
Trevor Francis.
Well, that's how I went.
Nope. Franny?
Carlton Palmer.
Does he have? No, that's Cole Palmer, isn't it? Steve Daly in 1979.
Never even heard of him.
Nah.
Question 2. What name is shared by Scunthorpe, Southend, and Rotherham?
United.
Yep.
Well
done, Franny. No, Ross got it. Ross got it. United.
Shambles a question.
Question 3. Fabien Barthez began his career with which French club?
Marseille.
Nope. Franny?
Monaco.
Nope. Toulouse. Question 4.
I'm going to tell you this quiz.
Who was England's final substitute in the 2002 quarter-final defeat by Brazil?
Final sub.
So who came on last?
What kind of question is that?
2002.
Yeah.
Darren Anderton.
Nope.
Let's go. Teddy Sheringham.
Boom! Teddy Sheringham.
Wow.
2-0 to Ross.
I was trying to think because it would have been Heskey and Owen up front to begin with, probably.
Question 5. You go win this, Ross. Emmanuel Petit joined Arsenal from which football club?
Monaco.
Oh, 2-1. Fucking hell.
That's it.
Question 6. No, you play until you get 3 at least. So
all right.
Question 6. Who played in the first FA Cup final ever to end 3 each?
Middlesbrough and Arsenal.
No.
Wimbledon and Arsenal, I meant to say.
No. And just a quick one here while you think. Martin, it's just general knowledge to end the podcast. We're not just, it's different football questions in between this. Yeah.
Liverpool, West Ham?
Oh.
No, Crystal Palace and Manchester United 1990. Question 7. Aye. Who scored Scotland's only goal in the 1986 World Cup finals in Mexico?
Archie Gemmill.
No, Ross.
Nere.
Gordon Strachan. Still 2-1. Still 2-1.
You can stand up here.
Fucking hell.
Right, you ready? Right. That's just mental. Right. Which keeper spent 20 years with Portsmouth?
What? Which keeper spent 20 years with Portsmouth?
Fuck knows.
Yeah.
Well, a second name day.
I go for it.
Taylor. I mean, I don't know. It just sounds like it's got to be some
I don't know.
stupid name.
Alan Knight. Right. Question 8. One of you should get this. Fucking hell. Who was England's goalkeeper when they lost 3-2 to Croatia in 2007?
Joe Hart.
Joe Hart.
No.
Oh.
Franny.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Joe Hart then.
Oh, I know who it was.
Oh,
I think I do anyway.
David James, or is that too late for him?
Wasn't David James. I'll let you go one more time, Ross. Go.
Was it Paul Robinson?
No, Scott Carson. Right.
Fuck's sake.
Nah,
Question
they'll
question
probably get
9.
first one next.
Question 9. Which goalkeeper kept the most clean sheets in the Premier League in 2005 to 2006?
Check.
Fair check.
No, both wrong.
Fuck's sake. Who was
Jose
it?
Reina.
Oh, fuck.
I'm trying to find something you're going to get here quickly. Fucking hell, by the way, honestly. Right. Question 10. Who was Blackburn Rovers' #1 goalkeeper when they won the Premier League?
Tim
Tim
Flowers.
Flowers.
Franny, 2 each.
What? Wait till you listen to that back, and I bet you it was £1,000,000 it was me, because it happened to me the last time.
Right,
No
question
way.
11. Roy Keane played his last
I can see
Premiership
that.
game. Roy Keane played his last Premiership game for Man United against which club?
West Bromwich Albion.
No, Ross.
No, that was Gary Neville.
West Ham.
Liverpool. Question 12. Who appeared in a TV ad for bacon before the 1998 World Cup?
Peter Schmeichel.
Bang!
Aye, there we
Well done. Well
Danish
done.
betting.
Aye.
Well done. I love that. That was brilliant. But lads, that brings us to the end
that
of
was
the...
like 4-1 to me there. Get what I mean? But
Friendly got there. He pulled it back to 2 each and you got a
wait
crack
till you
there with
listen.
him.
Wait till you
It was
listen to it back, and you'll text me again like you did the last time.
But that brings us to the end of the 4th installment of the Double Pivot. Have you enjoyed it?
Very
I
much
mean, I
so.
love these Wednesdays.
Aye, I do too. Aye, it's a wee bit
It's a
different.
good crack.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it takes us off on a wee road that we wouldn't necessarily go down a normal podcast. But I do appreciate everyone who's watched along. And the Boise Bus Project Dog at Feed the Bear, Martin's in. Even though he said about the English questions, he was answering them. So it's good to see you getting involved. Do you know what I mean? But until Friday, when we're back with a normal podcast, to everybody who's watching and going to catch up, stay well and keep safe. Hail, hail.